Hello and welcome back everyone, it's time for the seemingly monthly Hinowa Crush chapter to be talked about, and so far so good. This series seems to be going in a good fucking direction at the moment. Granted it's just the second chapter, but it looks like we're going to have a big war on our hands, and who doesn't fucking love warfare in manga, right? It's straight up the alley of the Akame Kill verse, and I mean, we all remember how fucking happy that original series turned out, right? Yeah, I'm expecting some bloodshed to happen here as well. Now I don't believe that Hinowa is going to die in this series, to be honest, but Akame just might, you never know. But anyway, let's get into what went down in this chapter specifically. A massive time skip seems to have gone down ever since the first series, and we're not talking 10, not 20, not 30, but 1,000 years. Biggest time skip ever. Gotta say though, Akame is looking real nice for being over 1,000 years old. This is of course very interesting news, because that means that the world is going to be very different from the world that Akame remembers it. And sure enough, we learn that the world ever since Akame's last sighting has been divided into a couple of smaller nations. Well, Akame was looking for a place called Hinowa, and she finds out that she's technically within the nation of Hinowa, only that it hasn't been called that for over a millennia. Instead now, the very place she's in is of course the Soka nation, which is one of the many nations that used to be the Hinowa nation. And you can see Akame's expression when she hears that it's been 1,000 years, but the others don't really seem too surprised at the fact that she referred to it as the Hinowa nation, other than the fact that they of course, as I said, explained how it is at the moment with the dividing of the nations and shit like that. The war-torn situation is something that I'm pretty sure Akame will be familiar with, given what kind of person she actually is, not exactly free of blood on her hands. And I really find it interesting how Hinowa doesn't really judge Akame even after finding that out. I mean, I guess it's because Hinowa has killed her share of people as well, even though they were just mere pirates. She doesn't really understand the weight of Akame's bloodshed, which is why I guess she kinda tries to look at this as an equal. But even if she found out, I don't really think that she would distance herself from Akame, because, I mean, while their lives may be of extremely different worlds, Hinowa has a really nice soul, and I will be getting to that later. Okay, so first things first, can we all just appreciate the fact that Akame's eating habit is intact? I loved seeing this, because we just see how Akame lights up when tasting the food that is prepared for her, and that's something that I really liked about Akame from the original series, that she's really powerful and at the same time can be really fucking savage, but when it comes down to food, she's like a little kid, and that really opens up breathing room from the whole violence theme of this type of series. That's something that I think is very important, especially when a lot of death is involved. Granted, we haven't seen a lot of death yet in Hinowa Crush, but I am sure that shit's about to hit the fan real soon. The moment with Akame and Hinowa as they prepare to fight was pretty fucking cool though, because you see Akame say, despite my injuries, I'll still win, pretty much. And that's when you know, like, Akame is about to do some crazy shit, and while she doesn't actually hurt Hinowa, seeing as it was just to show Hinowa that Akame is more than capable of helping Hinowa grow as a fighter. I mean, don't get me wrong though, Akame did unleash some of her demonic power or whatever, as you see this dark energy just surround her before striking Hinowa on the forehead. Then we have this small jump in time, pretty much just a few days, as Akame shows Hinowa how to fight without only relying on what she's learned in class, since that's pretty much the only way to grow as a fighter. I mean, once you've learned all there is to it from your teachers or whatever, you gotta experiment and improvise in order to find new ways of fighting, and you need to keep changing up your style, especially if you end up fighting the same opponents more than once, seeing as that opponent will most likely have adapted to your fighting style the second time around. So the last two things that I want to talk about are Hinowa's personality so far and the upcoming war that seems to be happening. While they were actually eating, Akame noticed how Hinowa had all of these animals living within the house, so you just know that Hinowa, she's such a nice person. She doesn't like the idea of people suffering, and if possible she'll help them out as best she can. And those were animals, not people, so you can judge her personality based on that alone, well, at least to some extent. Hinowa is very selfless. She helped all of those animals and even allowed for Akame to actually stay at her house, which pretty much concludes that, you know, she wouldn't let anyone else suffer and have a bad life. That's the kind of personality that Hinowa has, and I think that personality is going to come back to bite her at some point in the future of this series, given that it's going to be a very war-heavy one by the looks of things, and that actually brings me to the upcoming war that's moving in their direction. We see this other black-haired chick from the previous chapter, which was like 10 years in the past, so I'm guessing that that nation has actually finally decided to move on the Soka nation, which I believe is the nation called Tenro. And yeah, that black-haired chick does not play around. We saw that in the previous chapter as she made quick work out of Hinowa's mother. So without having to even guess, that woman is going to be a problem for Hinowa when she finds out that she's the one behind the killing of her mom. She will most likely develop vengeful thoughts and wanna kill this woman, but then there is Akame who will probably stop her, and I think Akame will end up fighting this person, which is when we're going to be seeing Akame's current full power, because we don't really know if she's gotten stronger or if she's actually at the same level as in the original series. Regardless, they both possess dangerous power, so if they end up clashing, it's going to be very intense. Anyway, I'll be ending the video here. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I'll see you soon.